Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the Coders Startup Podcast. As always, I'm the host of the show, the hostess with the mostest, if you will. Yeah, I'm scratching my own back there. Trevor Page, welcome. And I'm joined, of course, as always, by, well, I shouldn't say as always. He hadn't been on for
MIA for like 2 weeks now.
But you know what? It's through the magic of interweaving episodes and everything. I don't think you ever missed an official episode 2 weeks in a row. So
Nice.
yeah. Anyway, Carter rejoins us. It's been a little while, but anyway, today we were just discussing a little bit about what the heck we're going to be talking about in this episode, of course, as we always do right before we record these things. And Carter made the fabulous suggestion of goal setting. I think we talked a little bit about goal setting probably many episodes ago, probably either early 2015 or late 2014 if this podcast was... Oh, no, we launched this podcast... Wait, when did we launch this podcast?
It's been over a year.
Has it been over a year? I feel like we launched it around Christmas time last year.
Yeah, I think it was in November of last year, actually.
Was it November? Did we like blow by?
What episode number are we on?
Yeah, that's true. But I've cheated and put in some of my income reports as episodes. So I mean, I just said it. Are we 48 right now?
Yeah.
Anyway,
there's been some times though where we've missed recording. So yeah, I think we're right around a year.
I think it's right around a year. Anyway, we'll call it a year. There you go. Happy anniversary to the Coder Startup Podcast. But anyway, this episode is being released on the 24th of December, which some of you may or may not realize is Christmas Eve. So if you're listening to this, then have a drink on us and have some eggnog, and hopefully you'll be able to go to sleep tonight. And be able to get to sleep because Santa is coming. Anyway, very exciting times, I know. So having said that, the thought was we should talk about goals, and I think because it's so well timed with Christmas Eve and being so close to the beginning of 2016, it makes perfect sense. So I could just start things off by talking about sort of what goals have done for me, if that's what you really want to launch into.
Let's talk about that, because I think you've had a huge year, and I know just through our conversation and throughout the year you've credited it back to your goal setting and having everything that you have right in front of you, and I know you'll get into more of that. And then I think let's talk about why this year for me I've come to realize why it is such a perfect time around the holidays to think about the future. And I can dive into more of that and some things that people have said that just kind of created a light bulb moment in my head. So yeah, let's start with you.
Love it. So yeah, for me, I was never a proponent, if that's the right word, of goal setting. I never set goals and I never tracked any goals because I just felt like it's a very trendy thing to do. I guess I'm a little bit of a hipster that way. There's a bandwagon that everyone's jumping on. There's goal setting stuff. So I thought of it as more of it's a marketing tool. People can talk about goals and fill up, the airwaves with it, just like we're doing right now. So I guess that was a bit of the pessimistic person in me who doesn't come out very often. Who was at play there. So finally I decided, whatever, I've heard a lot of my close friends and my entrepreneur friends, whatnot, have talked about goal setting, and they talk about it like it's just, it just needs to be done. Here's my goal setting and I've done it and I'm happy. And I was like, these are smart people who are doing this stuff. So clearly maybe there's something to this goal setting thing. So I did it. I set goals in 2015 for myself. Most of them revolved around monetary goals, revenue figures for my business and whatnot. And as you probably heard in the November income report, I already exceeded that goal. And that was my stretch goal. My real initial goal was just to be able to pay my bills, which I think, was around the, 60 to 75K mark for the year. But my stretch goal was to triple my business from the previous year, which meant it would bring me to $100,000 for the year, bringing me into the six-figure business territory. And at the beginning of the year in 2015, the stretch goal was just a pipe dream. I would see I keep track of my goals. I write them down and I track them on almost a daily basis, maybe every other day, every third day. And I would see the trend line where I would need to go and hit to actually meet the stretch goal, and I was never hitting it, and it was, you know, like it was never going to happen. And anyway, so long story short, yes, I did make.
Trevor, your volume keeps going in and out. I don't know.
Oh, does it? Is it because I keep turning away from the microphone like this? And
no, it's like a wave type thing. I don't know. You're talking and
interesting.
Didn't mean to interrupt you. Hopefully,
that's fine. Should I just turn up my microphone a little bit? Maybe.
Yeah, maybe that'll solve it.
Yeah, hopefully. Well, do stop me again if it keeps doing that. Is it still doing the craziness?
No.
Okay. Well, anyway, stop me if it gets pretty ridiculous, because I'm a finicky one when it comes to audio. So, anyway, so long story short, I met the goal. I achieved it, and I don't think it would have happened if it wasn't for the fact that I'd set the goal in the first place and was tracking it on a regular basis. And just to be able to say that now, it's like, holy cow, like that, this is something I don't like. I do maybe everyone already hit this point, and maybe everyone else already realized how amazing and how impactful goal setting as a strategy really is. Maybe everyone already knows about this, and I was just a latecomer to the party. But I'm so glad I did it, and I am so pumped to do it again for 2016. And I'll get into my goals for 2016 that I'm excited about. I guess a little bit later in the show, but I just wanted to reiterate the point for those of you who are feeling like this is just a trendy thing or a marketing thing, and it's all just a bunch of. I challenge that. I challenge you to try it, because it changed my life. So,
yeah, man. Well, I think too, there's so many reasons your goal setting worked. Like, just from an outsider's perspective, first of which, it was actually measurable. You know what I mean? And that's a big thing you hear with goal setting. Like, make sure you can measure the results. Make sure it's something that's measurable. So if you're like, hey, I want to lose weight, that's not really a goal. But saying, hey, I want to lose 5 pounds, that's a goal. That's really
almost. You also need to be timely. So you can't just say I want to lose 5 pounds, because then there's no deadline.
When's it gonna happen? Yeah. In the span of 5 years, 2 months, 5 weeks, whatever. But yeah, so I think, you had measurable goals going back to timely matter. You had like where it needed to be along the trajectory of the year. And then I think the biggest thing, you put it front and center where you could see it every day. Because so many times people, we plan these goals and we get really excited about them at the new year, and then we stick them in a notebook like next to our bed or, under the cabinet or something like that. And how many times do we see them? So you had, like, I remember so many times throughout the year, we'd be jumping on a call to do something completely different. You'd be like, oh dude, check this out. And like, show me the update or something. And that was constantly being shown to you every single day. So I think that's really where, man, you just crushed it with the goal setting and having that front and center. And that's something that I'm going to be working on this year in 2016, front and center.
Yeah, and I mean, that was my primary goal. I put front and center. And I think it's worth noting that some of my secondary goals that weren't business related, that I was not either measuring and or had it displayed in front of me, I did not achieve those goals. So, and I mean, just to be, because I'm always open and honest about all these things. One of the goals was on a personal level was to see my close friends that I live about, an hour and a half drive away from a lot of my friends, because that's where my wife's family lives, where I am now. And I guess the wife always wins when it comes to where you live. Anyway, that's another discussion altogether. My friends are an hour and a half away, and I'd made a personal goal to see them at least once every week, or at least once every 2 weeks at the very, very, outset of, at the very limit of the goal. And I failed miserably at that. I started well, we set up these weekly, hangouts that we would do together. We'd have an activity and we nerded out on these things, and it was fun. It was great. I was having a great time, but then sort of life got in the way. And of course I wasn't tracking it, and I wasn't doing all the things that bring it front of mind. And then, poof, it just fell apart.
I wonder, and this is me like goal planning for you, but right. I wonder if you could put on your chart, like right underneath it, have 52 boxes and just color it in every time you guys see each other or hang out or something. And that way you like look at it and you're like, holy cow, we haven't hung out in 4 weeks. We need to make that happen.
Right. Exactly. That's kind of like that's not exactly, that's like what is it? The Seinfeld.
Yeah. The paper chain.
paper chain. Yeah.
Don't let it break. Yeah.
Don't let the chain break. Yeah.
That's
Which was,
it,
I mean, I even tried that.
Let's tell them what that is in case there's some people out there.
Yeah. Good point. So I think, sorry?
Nothing. Keep going.
Keep going. Okay. The whole point of don't break the chain is you have a way you set your goal in front of you, or you have it somewhere, and every time you achieve your goal for that specific time period, whether it's you want to do something every week or every day or every 2 weeks, every month, whatever it is, you have like the boxes, just like Carter said, you have the boxes lined up. So the reason why he said 52 boxes for me, because I had said I want to see my friends every week, 52 weeks in a year, pretty easy to figure out that math. So color in the box, or you check it, or you exit, or something like that. You exit, and you have a chain that you start to see emerging from week to week, day to day, month to month, whatever the case may be. And it just makes you feel more like you don't want to break that chain, because as soon as you miss one of the goals, one of the days, one of the weeks, one of the months, and you can't exit out or color it in or whatever, it has this mental like icky feeling, And I did do that. I did that for when I was posting. Remember when I did the blog articles? I was posting one a day.
Yeah.
I still have it in front of me. I haven't updated that calendar because I've been so busy. But I see all the boxes in front. I have 60 boxes, and I made it to 30. So I did 30 blog posts in 30 days, and then I fell off the wagon because actually the reason why I hit a blog post that was difficult to write, because I had to do a whole bunch of back research and stuff like that would have taken me longer than the day. And you know what? It had a negative effect on me. More so, I think, than if it wasn't this chain thing, because I did break the chain, and then I felt like I lost all drive to continue.
Well, and I think as the story goes, how it all came about, someone was interviewing Jerry Seinfeld, and they asked him how you can, reach his level, and how did he become such a great comedian? And he said, well, I made an effort basically to write one joke a day. And once I started that chain, my whole job was just not to break that chain. And that's how, the consistency and everything else.
Right.
But great tactic.
Well, I think unless you do break the chain, and then how do you recover from that?
You get back on the horse and then try to
get back on the horse.
You know what I mean? I think, what is it with AA and stuff? They get chips, and you go back and you get a chip for a month or a year or whatever, and then just keep working. It's a process, and I think I keep thinking you got to just fall more in love with the process than the actual destination, and everything will take care of itself.
That's a good point. That's a very good point. So, yeah.
Yeah, but so where were we? I know we've gone down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, sorry. We were talking about, don't break the chain. And I was talking about my failure to achieve a goal that was not front and center in front of me with seeing my friends on a weekly basis. So, and because it wasn't front and center, and I wasn't, tracking that on a recurring basis, it just stopped happening. So,
let me ask you this. Have you already done any goal planning for 2016?
The only goal planning I've done is my primary goal. I have not gotten into any secondary business or personal type goals.
With your primary goal, do you think you'll utilize the chart again? And
totally. There's no way I would not use the chart. Yeah, because it was so effective for me. So if I were to, I'm going to take my camera. For those of you who can see this, I'm going to flip the camera around and point it at, I don't know if you can see that very well because of the glare, but there is a chart that I use where I tracked my yearly revenue figures, monthly revenue figures over the year. And you can sort of see the trend line as it, kind of goes above and below that $100,000, dollar mark. But that was on the monthly basis. I would update this chart on a monthly basis. Above it, which I stopped charting, was the one I used for a month. So I have two boards, for those of you who can't see it, two sort of whiteboards where I have the X and the Y axis with, along the X axis is the time, and along the Y axis is the dollar figures. And hold on, let me put this camera back now. I just track it on a daily basis, and wherever my revenue is, I look at the revenue as it's in my bank account. So I don't count revenue unless it's actually landed in my bank account, because it takes about 4 days to get there. And then once it's in there, I measure it, put it up on the board, see where I am as it pertains to the overall goal for the month. And whether you're above or below that line, there's an emotion that you feel when you see it. It forces you to feel something, and it forces you to know where you are at any given, day of the week. So when I see that revenue and I see that it's below where it needs to be, it just does something. There's this, it can make you feel a little bit depressed because it's like, oh my God, this sucks. I'm not, hitting my goal, but it forces you to start thinking about ways that you can get yourself back up to that trend line, or hopefully above the trend line, right?
And there's a reality to it as well, like that whole piece. Because I've heard this consistently, and for me, I can say this was a huge transformation for me when I started really tracking my actual personal cash flow, my finances, and like visually looking at it. I didn't graph it like you did, but just looking at it every single month and figuring out where you are. And I've heard like a lot of people refer to that as being like the first step to really going the financial free route. But there's something about it. Like, when you don't see it, you're kind of like, oh, things are good, right? You can think of why it's good when it's not really good. Or if something's bad, you can kind of downplay it in your head and ignore it a little bit more. But when it's right there in front of you, like there's no lying. Those are the numbers. That's what it is. And you start thinking about how you can improve that. And I think too, like there's been multiple times this year when you've been below your goal and you've been like, I got to do something, and you figured it out,
Yeah, and I think mostly that manifested itself in doing like sales. So putting my product on sale, doing a flash sale, and doing a Cyber Monday sale. Those were two big leaps in my like I might have perhaps a third of my yearly revenue was generated from sales.
Yeah, but think about it. How many businesses out there, a third of their revenue is generated from the Black Friday or the holiday season or something? So it's smart business. It's smart business.
It's crazy. But I mean, that's what, like, I wasn't even considering doing like a Black Friday, Cyber Monday sale until like a week before, when I looked at the line and I said, well, I'm getting close. Like, I feel like I can get there, but there's still a chance that I might not make it. I might not cross that finish line and be able to call myself a 6-figure business. And I said to myself, there's no way I'm not going to cross that finish. Like, I was so motivated to do it. And I was like, what can I do? And I was like, well, the sale that I did, the flash sale in August, went so well just before my wedding that I'm going to just try that again because I think it's going to work again. So I just copy pasted everything, and boom, it worked. It blew it out of the water. So now it's like, it forces you to be in the mindset to figure, because what is the most important thing, right? The most important thing in any business probably is the revenue, because that's what keeps the business going, sales. And that's what my primary goal was sales. And it forces you to think for like what in the mindset of what is best for the business in terms of revenue. And it forces you, it creates the revenue. It forces you to create it, and it just works. I can't put into words other than motivation the effect that it had on me through the year. And like I said, I'm so excited to try the same thing in the next year, because I've set some lofty goals for myself. If you want to talk about those now for next year.
Yeah, let's jump into it, and let's figure out, I mean, if you haven't already, how you can make those visible and measurable and everything else.
Yeah, I think it'll be much of the same, because again, my same primary goal right now is going to be revenue again. But whatever. The primary is revenue. The secondaries are going to be around my branding and stuff like that. But we'll talk about branding and stuff in a whole other episode, because I think I have a lot to say about branding right now with respect to my business. But yeah, primary, I should probably just write that down. Let me write that down before I forget that. My primary goal for next year, for this year, it was to essentially hit 6 figures so I could essentially replace my income as a programmer. I didn't fully replace my entire income as a programmer, but there's more than enough cash that I brought in for myself on a personal level. There's the sticky notes. That was allowed me to pay off all the bills and to put money in the bank and live comfortably, right? Because that's the whole goal of any job or business.
Which you had a lot of expenses that aren't going to happen every year. Yeah,
that was tough. So okay, hold on, pause. What was I was talking about?
Write down branding.
Thank you. You knew exactly what I was going to do. Branding. Okay. So I needed to replace my income. So my goal for in 2016 is to replace my income as well as my wife's income.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like, we're getting to a point where, kids are going to start coming. And if she could not go back to work, and if we could sort of co-parent together in the same house and never have to leave, like a la Pat Flynn type of thing, turn my wife into the superhero wife that Pat Flynn has. That is a dream for both of us. So, and that's sort of what my wife's sister, so I guess my sister-in-law now, that's sort of the same situation that she has going on. She's been able to stay home, and now her husband, my brother-in-law now, is also working from home. And it helps so much when you have kids, right? And for me, the biggest challenge in my life, second to business, or I should say above business, because I think business is easier, is going to be raising children.
Dude, I totally agree with you.
Right?
I think business is so much easier. I don't have kids, so there's probably some people out there who might be disagreeing with us. But when I talk about kids and stuff with my friends and all, I'm like, it is so much easier to start a profitable business than to live a life with kids. Not saying I don't want them, like I do, but that scares the shit out of me, bro. Sorry, you're gonna have to mark this as explicit.
Okay, so let me put that down. Episode 48. Mark is explicit.
While we ramble, anytime you say a curse word, you must mark it as explicit on iTunes. Otherwise, you get flagged. So sorry about that.
Yeah.
But,
So back to point. The goal is to replace both of our incomes for those, mostly for those reasons, because of kids.
I think it's fantastic. And let's point out a really good point first, though.
Okay.
You know what that number is, right?
Correct.
So that is one of the things I know, reading Tony Robbins' Money Mastery, like one of the things he does with, if you ever go to one of his events or whatever, he does it in his book, he like makes you back in to these numbers. So sometimes we think our goals and our dream lifestyle is so difficult for us to obtain. But when you actually break it down and realize, wait a second, my dream is to have, let's say it's to have a beach house. You get to go, anytime you want during the year or whatever. Well, you start breaking that down and you look at, hey, this is what I need right now with my current lifestyle. Let's say I want to buy a little bit more clothes, do a little bit more stuff. Well, that costs an extra X per month. And then a mortgage for a beach house might be, I don't know, $4,000 a month or something. You start stacking that and you start realizing, wait, that's a number.
That's a tangible number. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think going back to our whole theme of goals, one of the things that you're already ahead of the pack with is that number. You know it, right?
I know it. So that is going to be doubling my business. So I need to hit 200K next year. And the thought of doing that, doubling my business with all the knowledge that I have accrued until now, and knowing sort of that my business has tripled every single year. Yeah. Every single year my business has tripled. Knowing these things, doubling doesn't feel so out of the realm of possibility. Even though it's $200,000, which is more money than probably a lot of people will ever see in any given year, or maybe even in any given decade, I feel like it's attainable. Yeah. So, having said that, because I'm feeling it's attainable, that's no longer a stretch goal. Okay, you can't if you're
good point.
If you could feel like you can achieve it, you're not stretching.
Yeah.
And the whole point of goals is just to make you stretch just a little bit. Mm-hmm. So my goal again is to triple my business. My stretch goal will be to triple my business.
So that'd be
$300,000 a year. So that $300,000 for the year doesn't scare me. What scares me is how it breaks down to for the month.
That's interesting.
Right? That's what scares me, because I know how much I struggled to hit, I needed to hit about $9,000 a month. Mm-hmm. Excuse me. But if you triple that, that's scary. I have not even, gone over $20,000 in 1 month. I hit $19,000 in 1 month. But if I'm tripling, that means that I need to hit on a regular basis almost, $27,000 a month.
And this is for another show, or you and I can just talk about this, because this will be a ton of fun to talk about. But again, you have a huge advantage because you know your numbers.
Right.
You know conversion rates, you know opt-in rates and everything else. And when you have something like that, to a certain extent, now maybe not all the way to 300 and it tapers off, but you can pretty much turn on the faucet. You know what I mean? Like if you know that $1 brings in $1.50, like it's just a matter of how many dollars do you want to spend to get to that 300.
Exactly. So that's where processes and systems come into your business.
Totally.
So I heard a podcast about how getting free traffic is like the worst thing that you could shoot for when you start with a business.
Yep.
Because it takes so long to get a good flow of free traffic coming into your business.
Yeah. I tell people that with organic all the time.
Yeah.
And it's very tough to measure the conversion rate. You know what I mean? Like it's not for every business. So yeah.
Like my business exists today because of free traffic,
Mm-hmm.
but it took me 3 years to get there. So if the thought of you running in the red for 3 years is cool, if you're fine with that, and before you ever really start to capitalize on it, then sure, go ahead.
You want your life to suck? That's basically what you're saying.
And I don't know if I've said this on the show. I'm sure I have before. Talking about the low, I can pinpoint the lowest moment in my entrepreneurial career, and I'm pretty sure I've said this before. It was when my girlfriend at the time, now wife, was sitting on the floor in the bathroom, like almost at a fetal position, crying, because that's how bad our situation we were in terms of finances, because my mortgage payment like skyrocketed and our business expenses skyrocketed, and I was just hemorrhaging cash. And it was a terrible time. Anyway, it's not fun. And to live like that for 3 years without, you know what I mean? Free traffic is good, but it's not it shouldn't be your primary focus. So that's kind of a sidebar from the goal conversation. So like Carter said, knowing your numbers in terms of your goal and knowing your numbers in terms of I can spend $1 and get 2 back, that is what is going to be my strategy moving forward for 2016, as well as affiliate marketing and bringing in affiliates to sell my product on my behalf. Is going to be a big strategy that I'm going to be, trying to hit the pedal to the metal on and learn all about in the coming year, because I have no affiliate marketing strategy for my business right now. So,
and when you say affiliate, do you want affiliates to market your business, or do you want to market affiliate products?
No. So with the Coder Startup, I have some affiliate links, and you can click on them, and I get commission based on those. But you need way more traffic, and usually with that kind of model, you do need free traffic, because typically speaking, it's tough to buy traffic and sell someone else's product that you're only taking a cut of to make it profitable for yourself. Yeah. So that's not a good model for that kind of affiliate marketing or affiliate deals.
Remind me, I have a whole list of resources that I can give you, and then we can talk about this in another show too.
There we go. Yeah, because you're talking about it from the angle of I have a product and someone else is selling my product, and I'm paying them a commission for selling my product. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
In terms of the resources?
Yeah. Creating a whole affiliate program. Yeah. So
that's going to be my goal going forward in 2016, and how I can turn on that faucet and really start bringing in, well, like I said, almost 27, maybe it's $25,000 a month. How much is it? Let's find out what that is, unless you can do it in your head.
Well, it's about
it's $25,000 a month. Yeah, that's it exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So $25,000 a month scares the heck out of me, but I can't wait to see how it goes. So that's enough out of me. I think, with respect to my talk on goals, I've seen the impact that they can have on my business. I've seen that they work. I'm a believer in goal setting now. I'm totally going to do, set aside a good day or two in terms of just focusing nothing except for sitting down and writing them out and figuring out the numbers, maybe more in a couple of days, now that I know how impactful it can be. So there's my spiel on it. What's your spiel? What's your take on this? Where do you want to go with it?
Well, first things first, I want to talk about just some of the things that have jumped out to me recently about end-of-year goal planning and stuff. The first of which was what Lucas in our mastermind said on our call Tuesday. I was talking about some of the books and like personality tests and stuff like that I'd recently done. And Lucas was like, oh, it's so perfect too, because it's the end of the year and you're naturally going to be goal setting. And like really at that moment, I was like, whoa, that's a great point. Because a lot of times in the past when I've goal set, I do the typical stuff, think about it, but I'm not really like I don't have in focus what my natural personality and tendencies are. So by like considering that stuff, I'm really excited to see how the goal planning goes this year. And I haven't done anything. I'm reading a fabulous book, which I'll talk about here in a second. But you know, that was one of the things that I was just like, man, that's a really good point, Lucas. The other thing, you know, tons of people are going to be making goals in December. It's when the spike in health and fitness clubs, they make all their income in the first 2 months of the year because of that. And but, you know, going back, most of the people run their businesses with December being the last month of the year. So it's super easy. You have all this data to look at. You can kind of reflect on the year. One of the things I'll be doing, I go back, I do a morning free writing. I also have all my emails with my accountability partner, so I can go back and like look at those and kind of pick up, okay, wait, what was this? What happened here? And that kind of stuff to reflect. But at the end of the year, you have all this different data points, like you have, Trevor, with, you know what happened and what went well, what went wrong, the things you learned and everything else. So it's a great time to kind of reflect on that and really figure out knowing that, okay, what does next year look like? One of the things I'm going to be trying to get better about is quantifying the short-term goals, the 3-month, the 6-month stuff, because that's where I really, really struggle. For me, planning out 5 years, fantastic. Tons of fun. Love it. Trevor's smiling because we've talked about this so much.
Yes.
But for me, the 3-6 month stretch is what's really, really difficult. It's easier for me to plan like a whole year out versus or 12 months from now versus a 3-month period. So I'm going to be working on some of that. Let's think. What are some of the other things that I had jotted down? I don't know. Any questions come to mind?
I think when it comes to goal setting, I mean, it's a fairly, like Carter mentioned with the short-term versus long-term goals, we've had this discussion before. We're on opposite sides of the fence. I'm much, much more comfortable setting short-term goals, whereas he's much more comfortable setting long-term goals. I really don't know why that is, and I don't know where that comes from. But again, I haven't said
about it in this book. There's so much good stuff.
Oh, really? Okay. I was going to say maybe this is something that I'm completely missing out on, and this is an opportunity for me to take advantage of something that I'm not already taking advantage of, which is setting a 5-year goal. I don't have a 5-year goal, right? And I don't know how to get the benefits of setting a 5-year goal. I don't know what the benefits are to setting a 5-year goal.
I'm just going to jump into this book because
let's do it.
All right. So the book I'm referring, and if you haven't been able to tell, this is actually our book of the week recommendation that we.
Well, the people who can't see this don't know what you're saying.
It's The Millionaire Master Plan by Roger James Hamilton. And I came across his test. Yannick Silver of Maverick 1000 Entrepreneurship Group had recommended 4 different personality tests, and one of which was the Dynamic Wealth Test, which is one of Roger Hamilton's tests. I took that one and I thought it was really informative and stuff. And then I started noticing like these other tests that he had available, one of which was centered around this book. And I think this is like his first book that he did. And basically it gives you your personality profile type, and then also where you are in terms of the wealth level. And I was just blown away by how well he articulated like where I am, what I struggle at. And he even went as far to say is like, and when I'm saying this, you're already responding in your head. No, but da, 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 da. So he just like nails it. One of the things that he talks about, there's 4 different types of personality types. And I think that has a lot to do with our personalities, Trevor. Why? For me, it's easier to do a 5-year goal and get psyched up and stuff like that, but it's more difficult to do the 3-month and 6-month, where for you, it's, the opposite. And we should try this and report back to the audience, but we could actually like team up and help each other. You could help me take my 5-year goal and break it down, and I could help you take where you are and project it out 5 years. But that's one of the things he talks about is like just trading off the skill sets of that.
I'm curious. This won't really help the listeners as much because they haven't consumed the book and the content or anything like that. I took the test, by the way, and
Nice.
And I got my results. And with the 4 personalities, I think they're separated into like seasons, right? They do.
Yeah. Well, they have like seasons and all this other stuff that I don't really understand that part.
I didn't read the whole thing, but which one were you?
The Dynamo.
The Dynamo, which I feel like that's what I got too. The Dynamo, which is like the spring one, right? The futurist and the
I thought you would have been like Steel or.
Although, so what was interesting was I took one test and I got 2 results. I got the wealth result and I got the personality result. Was that supposed to happen that way?
Yeah. Okay. So basically, what did you get for wealth? So I was yellow.
I think I was also yellow.
Yeah, that to me that would make sense.
Yeah. That it was like purple was the next one. It's like on a rainbow, the Roy G. Biv rainbow level, right? So I think my thing was I needed to build a team out is what my suggestion was or something.
Yeah, I forget. I'll have to go through and look at all that. But
anyway, that was just for my own curiosity's sake.
Yeah. So, but going back to it, it talks a lot about. I don't know. For me, it just nailed it in terms of the stuff. Like every time I like hit a roadblock in business, this is what's coming up. And I haven't been able to get past this point. And like he does a really good job articulating it. So part of my goal planning, I'm going to be looking at some of the stuff he suggests and really backing in and figuring out how to tackle that first quarter, second quarter, 2016. I'm also going to be, really trying to I'm going to make all my goals measurable and then the timeline thing and then having them front and center. Because right now I have all my goals listed in my MVALT document, which, audience has heard me talk about before.
Yep.
So I can look at it on a daily basis. And I do, but it's still like, I just think there's something about what you did, Trevor, with having it on the wall right there where you can see it. That is just, man, that did some good. So,
yeah, and I think the reason, I guess we can call it, so the book of the week, I guess we're running long now. So, before I say we're running long going into that, I want to give a plug because I promised I would. You probably know nothing about this, Carter, but that's fine. But Mark, right? Mark Wilhelm?
Yeah. Mark's crushing
it. He does the show notes for this podcast. And I sang his praises in the last episode in the November income report because he's been a rock star. But I said I didn't ask for his permission to share his contact information. I knew he might be interested in work and whatnot, but I want to get his permission first. And of course, he gave me permission, so I want to give him a plug again and say, yeah, Mark Wilhelm is his name. Wilhelm is Wilhelm, like helm, like helmet. Will, like the name, but with one L. So he wanted to share he wanted me to share his email address, which is mwilhelm89 at gmail.com. So M like Mark, Wilhelm 89 at gmail.com. I assume 89 comes from his birth year, I would assume. Just a guess. So there you go. That's his email address. If you are in need of someone who does just a fantastic job at, not just transcribing. He does way more than transcribe. Anyone can listen to anyone speak and type it out. He does like a beautiful summary of everything that we talked about, Carter and I, in this episode. And he puts it in first person, and he just does such an amazing job. He does exactly what I asked of him to do and more. And
I remember when I think I approached Mark asking him or introduced him or something. And this is going to be weird, Mark, you're listening to this. But I think I remember I was like, yeah, man, it sounds awesome because you get to learn stuff and get paid for it. That's, you know what I mean? I wish I could, well, I do. I share a lot of the books and stuff and get paid for that. But it's awesome opportunity when you get to do what Mark's doing, and he does a fantastic job. So thanks, buddy.
Yeah, man. So thank you, Mark. Then, yeah, so by all means, reach out to him. And even if you're not in a situation where you maybe you don't have a podcast, maybe you're not looking in the market for those skill sets. If you know someone who's in the market for those skill sets, like I said, this guy's the bomb. So be sure to pass his information around, just like I am, because he totally deserves more work. Just not so much work that he can't work for me anymore. So we have to throttle him in some way, shape, or form. So anyway. having said that, I apologize, Mark, because I know, again, we're kind of going a little bit long, but that's why I'm saying, so yes, book of the week for this episode was, again, let's get the title and the author.
The Millionaire Master Plan by Roger James Hamilton.
Millionaire Action Plan, is that what you said?
The Millionaire Master Plan.
Master Plan, there we go.
Master Plan. Yep.
MMP. So there we go. That's the book. Check it out. It was good. And I double checked. I did get Dynamo, and I was also yellow. Those are my two.
Dude, we're the exact same on that. That surprised me. I thought you would have been steel or something with as good as you are at measuring stuff.
Yeah, I when I read through them, I was like, I think I have maybe they were very close, but Dynamo just edged it out by maybe 1 point or something. So yeah. I do wish they gave you more information around all of your scores and everything. So, anyways,
they're doing the Wealth Dynamics one, the $100 one.
But you pay for that. Okay. So for the people listening, how do they go and get this? I guess you sent me the link for it, right? To take the free test.
Yeah, the Genius IU. I sent you the link. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, although I've lost it now, so we'll have to figure out what the link is and post it in the show notes. So very good. So then brings us on to the tool of the week, and I figured out that to do a tool of the week, we didn't really have a good tool that we could use other than our own hands. And essentially either pen and paper or a dry erase board, because there's something about the tactile approach to keeping track of something like a monetary goal. Doesn't have to be monetary. It could be you can have anything that can be charted, right? So something about charting your goal by hand on a whiteboard or on a piece of paper or something. It forces you. It takes 5 minutes to do the whole thing. Like it's 5 minutes to figure out, the numbers, to figure out where how much has come in since the last time, and then to figure out the calculation for where that's going to appear on the actual chart itself, and then going in and physically, getting a ruler and drawing the lines. There's something about that it forces you to be in that mind. It's so much different than just typing a number on a spreadsheet, right? Mm-hmm. For me, it's almost becomes ritual, or there's some sort of bond that you have with the board, and there's, I don't know, like I said, there's these intangibles, and that is, I think, so important when it comes to like we talked about goals and setting goals and actually achieving them. Is to actually be tactile, touch it, feel it. Here's the sticky note. That's the tool for the week. Go out and buy yourself a bloody whiteboard and put it on your wall. So there you go. That's the tool. That's the book. If you have no closing comments, we'll save Mark some time, and we'll call it quits for the episode, and maybe we'll tease the next one. The next episode can be something like branding, or something like
affiliates, or
sales, or affiliates, or who knows? We have so much to talk about, so that's great. It's always good to have lots to talk about. So cool. You good?
Awesome. I'm great, man.
All right. So you want to say goodbye to all the people?
Yep. Check out United Business Leaders on Instagram if you haven't. We're up to closing in on 3,000 followers. So by the time this goes live, yeah, dude, we're crushing it. I can't wait to do a whole episode, all the stuff we've been doing, and we're crushing it. So
he is truly jabbing right now to build up that. That's very impressive that's all organic, not a penny of ads, right?
No ads. It's all been, we have, I think, 75 posts now. Pretty good content, 76. Great content, some book reviews on there. We're going to be doing movie reviews. We're profiling different entrepreneurs. And great interaction. A lot of people are commenting and liking and stuff. So check it out if you haven't.
United Business Leaders is the
just type in United Business Leaders, and then on Instagram, and our profile will come up.
It'll show up. Sweet deal. Well, there you go. There's the plug for Mr. Carter Johnson. So take care of yourselves, everyone. Happy learning, and bye for now.
Till next time.